Hi Murrow Kooks, and welcome to another episode of Murrow Minutes Goes Virtual. I am your host, Mackenzie Johnson, and with me today I have Katie Duncan, who is the president of the Murrow Student Ambassador Program. And today we're getting real technical and talking about registration for the spring 2021 semester. We get a lot of questions about how to register and how to search for classes, so hopefully this video gives you some nice tips and tricks about how to use all of our technology platforms to get the schedule that you want. Heads up, I do want to say the first thing that you'll need to do is meet with your academic advisor. So we definitely want to make sure that that's included, and we'll include those resources here at the end of the video as well. And then also, for those of you that maybe kind of already know a little bit about my.wsu or know some of the things we're going to talk about at the beginning, feel free to skip ahead using the timestamps in the description of the video. Later on, we mention common registration holds or other registration errors that you might receive as you go through this process. So feel free to jump around in this video, but otherwise we're gonna jump right in and kind of get started with showing you a couple different websites, and then I'm turning it over to Katie, who's actually gonna go through our registration process from the student side. So if we take a look here, again, schedules.wsu.edu, this is a great place to go to search for classes. We'll go into a little bit more why this is a great resource, but from an advisor and recruiter standpoint, this website is actually updated before my.wsu. So a lot of students use my.wsu to search for classes, but advisors actually recommend using this platform, number one, because we think it's easier to search for classes this way, but the second reason is because the most updated information about how many seats are available and things like that are going to be included on this website. So I just will go over a few links here with you, and then Katie will show you how you actually use this as a student. So everybody has access to schedules.wsu.edu. And again, right now we are talking about the fall 2020 semester because spring 2021 is not released yet. But let's go through an example as if we were a Pullman student for fall 2020. You click on this link, and the site pulls up all of our classes organized by topic. The reason why I like this is because if you're looking for an elective or something fun to take on campus, this is a really good way to browse what WSU offers. A lot of students don't know that we offer French courses or entomology courses or human development. And so it's kind of nice to scroll through and see what topics you might be interested in if you're ever looking for an elective. The other thing that's really nice about this platform is if you click on a topic or a subject, excuse me, it will pull up all of the different classes that are available under that subject in one place. So for example, for everything listed under COM, C-O-M, you get a whole list of courses pulled up here that you can scroll through and read more about. The other thing that I'll point out about schedules.wsu.edu is that if you click on a specific section number, so maybe for COM 101, if you click on the section number, it's going to bring up more information about the course. So you can read the course description, you can read about prerequisites, you can learn about where it's offered, who the instructor is, you can learn about when the class starts. All that information is right here. It could be a little trickier to view that in my.wsu. It's not impossible, but schedules.wsu.edu puts it in one convenient place. And Katie will kind of talk a little bit about that, especially as we get into prerequisites and other things that you might see there. So before I hand it over to her, I do want to show one more example of why schedules.wsu.edu is an awesome resource. And for many of you students, you're still working on your UCORE requirements. That's math, science, English, arts, diversity, roots, basically everything you need to complete as a state requirement for Washington State University. So if you're wondering, well, what classes fill the arts requirement or what classes fill the diversity requirement? We recommend that students go here to schedules.wsu.edu and click on the search button found here on the left-hand side. Make sure you're selecting the right term and campus. So eventually you'll want to select spring 2021 on the Pullman campus if you're a Pullman student. And then you see this nice option here that says UCORE. So you can select what UCORE you're looking for. So for example, maybe you're looking for an arts class. So you select arts. I only want it to show me open courses, so courses that have seats available, and then you hit search, and it's going to think about it for just a second, and then it's going to pull up every class that WSU offers for the fall 2020 semester that fills the arts requirement for UCORE. Again, the thing that's nice about this is if you scroll down, and you're reading through all these different topics, And let's say you decide, oh, I want to take ceramics to fill my arts requirement. Again, if you click on that section number, it will tell you if there are course prerequisites before you're allowed to take that. And in this case, there is. So for the course prerequisite for ceramics, you have to have passed Fine Art 103 or Fine Art 110 before the system will allow you to register. But otherwise, it's a great way to view UCOR requirements, search for electives, and learn just a little bit more about the courses that you're enrolling in. The other thing that I really like about schedules.wsu.edu is that you can't break the system. That's something that I'm a really big fan of. This is not the website where you register. It's not where you drop classes. It's not where you pay tuition. This is totally separate. So you can feel free to click around as much as you'd like on this website. It's impossible to break on your side. But then when we get into my.wsu, that's where we want to make sure we're being really careful about what classes we add and drop to make sure that we're kind of following a procedure for that. So I promise I'll stop talking now. I do want to turn over to Katie, who's going to show you what that actually looks like from the student side. So Katie, I will turn over to you to talk about the different ways that students can essentially go through that registration process.
Awesome. So I'm going to show you guys two different ways that you can enroll for classes, both through my.wsu, but just kind of two different views on how to do that, depending on what you need or what is easier for you. I'm already logged in, but this is what your home page would look like. So this is just where you do everything. So for the first way, I'm going to show you how to register through the navigation menu. So you're going to go up here to the top right corner to this little compass little icon, and you're just going to click on that, and it'll pull up this side menu. And what you're going to want to do is go to the bottom and click main menu. This is going to redirect you to this page right here. What you're going to want to do after that to get to where you can enroll and look and search for classes is go up here to the main menu, and you'll press that. Then you're going to scroll down about a third of the way, and you'll see self-service. And again, you want to click on that. And then the third one down is going to be enrollment. So that's where you're going to find everything related to enrolling in classes. And you'll see here you get a lot of different options. So there's enrollment dates, your class schedule, add classes, drop classes. I'm going to focus on adding classes today for registration. So you're just going to click on enrollment and add classes. It's going to think for a minute to just figure out what we're doing. And as you can see, I'm enrolled in classes since this is fall 2020, but I want to point out here that up here in this top left corner, you can talk about, or you can put in a specific class number. So Mackenzie just showed you on schedules.wsu.edu that you could look at classes and the exact section, and there's a 5-digit code with all of those on schedules.wsu.edu. So when you find the perfect class at the perfect time, you just take that 5-digit code. I have one right here. So you just type it in right up here and click enter. And this will show you the class. So this is COM 101, it's a lecture, it's open. So I will go through this process of how I would enroll for this class. So what you're going to do is verify that this is what you want to do. This is the class you want to take. And you're going to click next right here. And now my COM 101 has been added to my shopping cart. So then again, you would go back to up here or up back to the top to go to add, or you can go to the left-hand side right here and also enter another class number. So this is where you're going to fill in all your 4 or 5 or however many classes you're taking. And as you do that, it'll line up in your shopping cart. So I'm going to proceed through this, but you will add more classes, I'm sure. But this is what that process looks like. So once you have all the classes and all the times you'd like to take, you're going to say proceed to step 2 of 3. I will mention these little icons up here. So a green dot, you'll see it right here on the right-hand side. That means the class is open currently and that you are able to enroll, or there is spots for you to enroll in that class. A blue square means that the class is closed. So that could mean that all the spots are filled or they're just not taking any more students in that class. And then the yellow triangle means you're on the wait list. So that means that the seats are full or getting full, so you will be notified if you're able to enter that class or not throughout as they start filling out the seats. So I'm going to go proceed to step 2 of 3. Just going to think about it. And it's going to have you confirm your classes. So what you're just going to make sure to double check COM 101 is what you want to be taking. There normally will be a day and time right here that you'd want to verify, but obviously we don't have that right now. But yeah, and so after you are confirmed, I will not do it right now. I do not want to enroll in COM 101, but you would click finish enrolling, and then you will be enrolled. This is a really easy way to do it, and this allows you to use those class numbers that you find on schedules.wsu.edu, and it takes away a lot of the guesswork and having to thumb through my.wsu. And like Mackenzie said, schedules.wsu.edu is the most up-to-date website about classes, so I really recommend using that resource. But if this one does not float your boat, I will show you another way that you can enroll for classes. I'm just going to back it out again. I'm going to go back to the beginning, my.wsu.edu. So another way you can go about registering for classes is going to the Manage Classes tile. So I'm going to click on that for you guys. And as you can see here, my current class schedule is right here. So this is where my weekly view is going to be. So all of your options are going to be here on the left-hand side. So shopping cart, mine is not currently open, but this is where when you start adding classes and trying to figure out your schedule. Oh, well there, I added this class to my shopping cart in the other view. So this is where I could see it. So there's more information here, but this is just to give you a view of what classes you are thinking about and are wanting to enroll in. Down here, right underneath shopping cart is enrollment date. This is going to be where you find out which date you're allowed to enroll. I really recommend enrolling as close to that date as possible to ensure you get all the class times and classes that you want. And the really important button on this section is class search and enroll. This is where you're actually going to look for your classes. I will go to 2020 fall just because that's what we're in and I have access to. So here, this is more you could enter the keywords, so that could be the course, the subject, the class number. So I'll try COM 101 again. So you just type in COM 101 and it'll do a little thinking. And it'll pop up right here. So there's 6 class options available. You can click, there's a little arrow here, but you can click anywhere in this box to view more information about COM 101. And as you can see here, all the different sections pop up as well. So this is another way you can look at all the different sections of COM 101 that are available. But as Mackenzie said, this is not as up to date as schedules.wsu.edu with the number of seats open. So I really would recommend looking at the schedules website to get the most accurate view. But this is also great. So I will look at this first top option. And this is going to be kind of the page where you start enrolling like the other one. So what you're going to do, this is just reviewing that you're doing the proper class and exactly what you want to be doing. So make sure to verify the class number, the class name, the meeting dates, and times. So if all of this looks great, then you're going to go up to the top right corner and click Next. And then you can, right now you can choose to enroll or add to shopping cart. So if it is your enrollment time and it is your time to enroll, go ahead and click enroll. But if you're doing it early to get just kind of a lay of the land and see what you want to take, you can click add to shopping cart as well. But I'm going to click enroll just to simulate I'm actually enrolling. I will then click next again if this is correct. And then you're here, and again, WSU will ask you to verify the class just as many times just to make sure everything is going right and that you're signing up for what you want to. So it's a lot easier after you enroll. But if everything looks great, then you're going to hit submit and you will be enrolled in that class. So those are the 2 ways that you can enroll for classes through my.wsu.
A couple of things I do want to add into what Katie showed you today. She mentioned the shopping cart in both of those methods of registration. So I do want to go over a little bit about the advantages of using that shopping cart. So essentially what's going to happen is that enrollment dates for everyone are going to open sometime in early November. That's when you can actually enroll in classes. However, the shopping cart will open earlier than that. Probably mid to late October is when you guys can possibly start adding those classes to your shopping cart. And the shopping cart is just what it sounds like. It's where you're picking out the classes you want, putting them in one central location, but you're not at the checkout yet because maybe there's a long line, et cetera, et cetera. It's not your enrollment time, but you're just putting things in a cart to hold them. I say to hold them, but by putting classes in your shopping cart, that doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get that day, time, or class. What the shopping cart allows you to do is pick the classes that you hopefully want for spring 2021 or whatever semester you're registering for. And then when you go in to register on your enrollment date, there will actually be a button available. Katie's wasn't available for fall 2020 because we're already in this semester, but there will be a button available that says validate. And that validate button is essentially going to process all of your classes one more time to make sure all of them still have that open kind of green circle that Katie showed you, which means that there are seats available. If there aren't seats available, it'll either show wait list or closed. And that's how you'll know you'll probably need to go find another class before you actually enroll in that section. So related to that, related to the shopping cart and the issues that you kind of may encounter with that if the classes ended up being full before you were able to enroll, I do want to go ahead and talk about some of the common holds you may have on your account that could prevent registration, as well as the common registration errors that you may actually see if you were to proceed through enrollment. So the first hold I want to talk about, I believe I mentioned it earlier in the video, but most students will have an advising hold on their account, which means that you need to go visit your academic advisor. Our meetings are being held virtually right now, but you can still schedule an appointment with your advisor the same way through SSC Navigate, calling our office, or stopping by our virtual lobby, and we can get that set up for you. You may also have financial aid or orientation holds as well. And you can view your holds in my.wsu to make sure that those aren't going to prevent registration. It's important to note that holds like advising, financial aid, or orientation generally take a couple days to remove, right? A lot of times you have to schedule an appointment ahead of time or go to that office. So we recommend checking what holds are on your account well before your enrollment time to make sure you're good to go. So once all of your holds are removed, you can add things to your shopping cart. And then once it's your enrollment date, you actually can go through and hit enroll in those classes. But let's say you hit enroll and you came across some issues. It only let you into maybe 3 or 4 of the 5 classes that you're trying to get into. So a couple of the errors that I want to talk about that you would see, kind of our most common ones. So the first one is prerequisites. That one's pretty simple. So if you have a registration hold, or excuse me, a registration error that comes up and says prerequisites are not met, you can't enroll in this class. That means you need to have taken or passed a course required beforehand in order to enroll in that class. There may be some issues that come up with this related to like certain math courses or things like that. But essentially, the system will not allow you to enroll unless you've taken or are currently in the prerequisite for that class. If you have questions about that, you can always contact your academic advisor, but just know that they're most likely not going to waive that requirement. It means that you need to take another class first. Another really common hold that we get, this is probably the question we get the most as student services professionals. A lot of times students accidentally try to register on a different campus, most commonly the global campus. The reason for that is that global campus classes are all online. So a lot of students in previous semesters before COVID would say, oh, I didn't realize I could take this class online. I'm going to enroll in that course. Well, you actually can't enroll in classes that aren't on your campus. So if you were admitted to the Pullman campus, your first semester, first year, you were a Pullman student, that means you can only enroll in Pullman campus classes, which means you cannot enroll in global campus classes. COVID has been a little interesting because all of our classes are virtual or online, but still know if you're a Pullman student, that class is offered through the Pullman campus. We just had to transition to an online virtual format. But the registration error you will receive if you're registering on the wrong campus is you will get an error that says, this class is outside your area of study. Please select a different course. So that one is kind of self-explanatory, at least to me, because if you're selecting a course that's outside your area of study, that means you're selecting a course outside the area of Pullman, right? So you need to make sure if you're a Pullman student, you select this campus. If you are a global campus student, make sure you're selecting the global campus, etc. So be aware for that one. The last hold that I want to talk about that can be pretty common for our students to run across is that a lot of courses can have what we call a reserve capacity. So a reserve capacity is when a department will hold seats in the course for a specific set of students. So for example, Marketing 360 is a really common one that our students come across. That's actually offered through the business college. So the business college will actually reserve a portion of those seats, and you have to be a business major in order to register for that class. So what reserve capacity means is if you're trying to register for the course and it looks like there are seats open, but they're being reserved, the system won't actually let you register. It will suggest that you find a different section or a different class instead. But if your heart is set on taking that class, you're welcome to check back in at the start of the semester to see if any remaining seats have opened, but we can't guarantee necessarily that they will. So we recommend that if you get the reserve capacity registration error, that you go to find another class or pick a different section that's in your area of study in order to fill that requirement. So those are pretty much the common registration errors that we see as advisors in the Student Services Office. There are certainly other ones. So for example, if Katie had proceeded to try to register for COM 101 during this fall 2020 semester, she would have received a different error saying, your add drop time has passed, you cannot add this course. So you will see other registration errors and possibly holds, but if you have questions about those, like I said, you can contact us, you can contact your advisor, or you can drop into the ambassador drop-in hours on Wednesdays from 3 to 5 and talk to current students about what you might be seeing. So now that we've shown you schedules.wsu.edu, how to register through my.wsu, and talked about some of the common errors and holds that you may have, I do want to turn it back over to Katie to talk about some registration tips that she has as a current student. She's actually a senior, so she's done this quite a few times. So she's learned the tips and tricks about how to make this process easier and how to get the schedule that you want. So Katie, I'm going to turn it over to you to share some of those tips.
Awesome. Yeah, like Mackenzie said, I've been through this process a few times. It'll actually be my last time, so I think I've developed some tips and tricks along the way. I think my number one tip would be to have a backup plan. And this doesn't mean that you're not going to get into any of the classes you want. I would just say have a backup of times and different dates and things that you can take classes, because the noon to 1 classes always fill up first. We all want to take class from noon to 2 every day, but those are going to fill up. So I always recommend having a backup plan, it just in your mind, just in case something is full or you can't get in. This makes it a whole lot less stressful when you're sitting on your computer at your enrollment date. You know that you have a couple of options to enroll for. So that's my biggest tip. Another one is register on time. So you're going to get that enrollment date. It's going to say, for example, November 10th at noon. I would make sure to be on there as quick as possible, because other students are going to have times after that and before that. And so in order to have the best chance of getting the class that you want, it's really imperative that you're on your enrollment date as close to that time as possible. I'm not saying that you have to be on there the minute when the clock strikes noon, but yeah, as close as you can be, is this the better chance you'll have to get the classes you want and that noontime class if that's what you're after. The last kind of huge tip that I have for you guys is I like to actually map out my classes in a weekly schedule. I know during a live that they give you kind of a weekly breakdown or a week breakdown of your classes, which we could throw up here, or I'm sure you might have that resource as well. But it's really great just to see all your classes blocked out and how much break time you have in between each class. And this makes it really easy to conceptualize what your schedule is going to look like and if that's going to work for you in your life. With COVID, of course, with Zoom classes, it's a little bit different. You don't have to worry about running across campus to a different building. But I think it's really important to just see your schedule conceptualized. I like to draw it by hand, but I know there's a lot of programs online that you can pop in your schedules to see what it looks like. But those are my top tips. It's really fun. It's really exciting getting to enroll for new classes and think about what you're going to take next semester. But like Mackenzie said, if you have any questions, please stop by the Ambassador drop-in hours every Wednesday from 3 to 5, and we'd be happy to answer any more questions about registration that you might have.
Great, thanks, Katie. We appreciate your tips as a current student. It's easy for us as staff and faculty to say, you know, this is important, but really coming from a current student who can say it's important that you register on time so you maybe can have a chance to take the noon to 1 class. That's definitely a really nice tip. I do want to remind students related to registering on time, if you do have any holds on your account, you want to make sure and remove those well ahead of time. Our advisors do not remove advising holds during their drop-in hours, and their appointment times will fill up very quickly. They'll be able to meet with you before the end of the semester, but if you want to meet with them before your enrollment time opens, like Katie mentioned as a tip for registration, you want to make sure and meet with them as soon as possible. They're already taking advising appointments for spring 2021, and they'd be happy to talk to you about what courses you need to take. We don't know whether we're going to be virtual or in person necessarily, and your class may still adjust and change, but we do know what classes we'll be offering, so your advisors can talk to you about what you'll be taking and what you need to register for. So hopefully this video kind of helped you walk through what that registration process looks like. Like Katie mentioned, I do want to throw up or down in the links, of this video, a couple additional resources. So the first one is that document of a weekly schedule that you can fill out yourself by hand. You can do that before you even enroll in your classes, just so you can get an idea of, okay, what if I take this class here and this class here? You can kind of see it laid out beforehand, which is really, really nice. The other resource that I'll throw up here is our registrar's website. They also have some my.wsu videos and registration videos that are helpful to go through. It's kind of nice to see it from a Murrow perspective, but they also, like I said, are happy to share those resources. So we'll make sure and throw those in the video link here for you. Otherwise, that's all we wanted to share with you today as we kind of get moving through October and November, so you guys can kind of have a few tips about how to be successful. In the meantime, we hope that you're staying involved in our college, attending those Zoom classes, and also taking care of yourself. So anything that you can do to essentially practice any self-care, whether that means registering on time for spring 2021, making sure you take lots of rests, communicate with people safely. That's kind of what we're looking at right now, is keeping our community and Pullman and WSU safe. So hopefully you're taking care of yourself. We do want to go ahead and sign off on this video. Like Katie said, if you have any questions, you can contact me, you can contact the ambassadors or your academic advisor. But until then, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and go Cougs.